Hey everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to the New Vision Records podcast. And as always, we are your hosts, Jordan.
And Christian.
And so, Christian, there's been a lot of stuff going on lately. Um, the first one being the inauguration of President Biden. What is your mindset on that? What do you think of it? Or what did you think of watching it?
Yeah, my mindset on it is just simply we had a new president sworn in, just like we have for the past 200 whatever years this country's been around, 240 some years this country's been around. Like,
yeah,
I don't think too much of it. I mean, yes, President Trump is no more, and now we officially have President Joe Biden, which feels a lot better to say. But I mean, as far as the inauguration itself goes, I mean, I watched it. I watched.
same.
There was a nice little piece with they had Lady Gaga on. They had this woman give a really nice like not a poem per se, but it was like spoken word.
Yeah.
It was a really cool thing. So that was all pretty dope. But yeah, I mean, he got sworn in. There were no attacks. There were no, But the funny thing is, there were I will say, as I was watching this, and even afterwards, there's all these like memes and stuff that are people, the writers like trying to like make fun of him for different things. Like, oh yeah, well, you guys don't have a super special crowd, or you guys say you want freedom, and look at all these
fences
and the military you have like protecting you and stuff. And it's like,
yeah,
I wonder if there is anything that happened recently that they might need to do that for,
yeah,
and then there's like, it's like, okay, we have a major pandemic, which the people that actually support Biden do believe in. So like, you're going to find a correlation there of them not being at the, and also the actual, you got the fences and the military there because fuckers tried to attack the Capitol the other day. Like, it wasn't going to be safe. So yeah,
no, that's
former President Trump got on his helicopter and flew to Mar-a-Lago, I think it's pronounced, which is actually, I found out, located here in Florida. I'm like, oh great, just another reason for me to not like Florida. Another reason to not like it here. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man. And actually, as I was watching it, I had all the comments, on, there's a lot of hate through the comments. I'm like, dude, there was so much hate. I was like, bro.
Were you watching it on like C-SPAN's YouTube channel or something? No, you were watching it on Hulu, weren't you? How were the comments? Or was it on?
No, Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's the thing. And they're taking a stand against this now. But the reality is that part of the reason we got here and that there's been so much misinformation regarding things like COVID and a whole bunch of other things even before that is largely because of Facebook. The way that Facebook is designed and the demographic it typically pulls in is very much related to, well, boomers. And there's all this psychology behind why boomers and why people who are generally more fearful in general tend to be more believing and accepting of conspiracy theories. It's this whole, there's some very interesting articles on it actually, but I actually watched the inauguration not on Facebook, not anything like that. I watched it through my favorite political commentator's YouTube channel, Vosh, and for him it was like, well, he normally streams at like 1 p.m. our time, which is 11 his time. But he's in Washington. But anyway, and he must have streamed early for him because it was like 9 a.m. for him and it was 12 for us when the ceremony began. But yeah, it was interesting. It was the funny thing is, like, we're already seeing people trying to impeach him literally like just a few days into office. We're
Yeah,
seeing
like,
a bunch of other crazy
seriously.
things going on. And he's already doing some pretty positive things. Like he's making sure to push through that we all get our extra 14 grand, because we were initially supposed to get $2,000. Now we're getting the rest of that 2,000 we were initially supposed to get.
Hallelujah.
So we're getting those things, and he's really pushing for a lot of we're back in the World Health Organization. Dr. Fauci is now taking charge again. It's amazing now that we have a president in office. Now we can actually start listening to science again and start taking things like this worldwide pandemic seriously. Like,
Exactly.
Jesus fuck. We can finally start to see things getting better. It was so bad that when they went in office and they started looking over like Trump's records and stuff, see, all these different things, they found he had no distribution plan for the vaccine. None at all. He literally was like, oh, you know what? They didn't vote for me. Fuck them. This is going to be Joe's problem now. And my thought on it is because like this is something that happens a lot to all types of presidents, regardless of what their party is. The media and people in general, like you and me, just regular people, will blame the current president for things that were the previous president's fault. So
Yeah.
I'm ready to hear for the next couple years about how Biden's responsible for all these things that really Trump's responsible for, and I'm sure it's going to happen. He is doing some pretty positive things in regards to the LGBT community as well, and he's
Yeah.
reversing, because literally before Trump left, he put this thing in place that was supposed to make it harder for LGBTQ people to be able to adopt children, and Biden's working
Yeah.
on reversing that and all these different things. So, yeah, they're working on doing things, and I think we really are about to start seeing some progress, and things are going to start getting better. Nothing's going to change overnight. It wasn't like as soon as he got in office, like the clouds will part and everything will just magically be better. It was never going to be like that. That's ludicrous. That's
Baby steps.
Exactly. The point is we're taking steps in the right direction. That's the important thing. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my thoughts on the inauguration as a whole. How about you?
I mean, it was all right. I mean, I wasn't like ecstatic, like, yeah, let's go, baby. But I just kind of watched it, and like at some points I was like, oh my gosh, when is this gonna end? This is so boring. But as it started getting to the end, like I said, there was a lot of hate comments just piling up. And I was like, people, like this is who our president is now. Like, get over it. Like, but yeah, no, it was all right. I just kind of watched it, and I was like, oh yeah, like awesome. This is great.
Right.
But other than that, yeah, I just kind of watched it, and as you know, I'm not a really big politic guy, and so I just kind of watched it. Watched it till the end. Was like, oh sweet, yo, like we have a new president now, like cool. And I went on, and then I went on with my day.
Yeah, definitely. I will say that for me personally, it really became it wasn't really a big deal, but I will say, I mean, it was a big deal that
Yeah.
we're having this proper transfer of power and everything, just the same as we've done for hundreds of years. But yeah, it's things aren't going to magically get better, but we are going to finally start making progress, and I think that's a really good thing. Also, though, I will say I'm disappointed there was no Three Doors Down. No, that's the one thing that I did like about Trump's inauguration, was that there was a Three Doors Down, but Three Doors Down played at a ceremony. But
Okay.
I wanted to point out that sorry, there's already, like I said, there's already like memes and stuff making fun of, like, there's this really, I don't think I shared it with you, but I shared it with two other friends of mine, and where it's a comic of Biden getting sworn in, and the guy's like, the guy that swears him in is like, I, Joe Biden, and he's like, come on, man, you're not Joe Biden, I'm Joe Biden. It's like, come, really, like, fucking, that's not even what happened. Like, fuck
Yeah.
you guys. Like, I don't know, like, the joke, in massive air quotes, is supposed to be that his mental health is slipping and he doesn't remember things, and it's just stupid. It's the same joke. It's funny because like the reality, and this is like unrelated, but also kind of related. The reality is that like the right, conservatives have one joke and they just hammer that same joke into the ground. Like with trans people, it's the attack helicopter joke. Like all the time, it's just, well, if I can just choose to, then I can choose to be a toaster. I can choose to be, an attack helicopter. I can choose to be. No, that's not what we're saying. That's not what gender works. Or I can just choose what my race is. No, that's not. No, that's not. There's all this like psychology and stuff that goes into how things work and how gender is and all these. I mean, ultimately what it comes down to is the reality that what we think of as like male and female are, things like put on by society and aren't really things, and they've changed throughout different societies, and it's a bunch of like it's not complicated, but it is complicated. It's not something I really want to get into right now. I may go more into depth with it at some point in the future, but yeah, the point is they have one joke and they just keep using that same joke over and over again. It's like, guys, fucking stop.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I just found out about this today, and it's been like on the market and been being worked on for a while. But they are, I don't know if any of them have an official name for them yet, but there is testing, and they're in more and more medical people are in more and more development to developing male birth control. Now, there are three main ways that they're working on making this happen, which is either a pill, like the pill that women tend to take, a gel, which I guess you could like rub on your shoulders and it absorbs into your skin. It's like a spermicide that you, and also a shot, like a shot you can get once a month or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's really cool because the conversation has been for a long time, and I completely agree with this, that the responsibility of birth control should not all be on the woman's fault. And I know a lot of people might be thinking when you hear that kind of thing, well, men do have like control over that. It's called it's called condoms, or it's called a vasectomy and different things like that. And it's, yeah, but that's not the same, right? When you're, especially if you're in like a committed relationship with someone and you don't want to use condoms, like it would be great to have a way to be like, hey, we know that we're not, what is it called? We don't have any STIs. We know that we're only being with each other, and we don't want to use condoms. And I think there definitely should be something for a man to be able to, not have to worry about if or be able to have birth control as well. And I would imagine, I don't know how much testing there is on this specifically, but I would imagine if you would combine male and female birth control, it would just make it even stronger. By that I mean if both parties are on birth control like separately, I would imagine it would make it stronger. But regardless, I am all for male birth control. I would definitely take it. I would love to. I would love to. For one, and this might be a weird way to say it, but like I would like to, I don't know, kind of see, like if I'm gonna, I don't know, like I kind of want to have that experience so I could relate more to women in that regard. Be like, okay, well, you can complain about having to take a pill every day, but I can do it just fine. Like, I don't know. I think but I would just like the responsibility too, because I would like to know that I myself am protected and that I'm doing what I can to protect the person I'm with as well. Like that's just a thing. I would rather have that than have like a, that's what I would do personally.
Yeah.
But what do you think of birth control in general, especially for male birth control? If it happens, would you take it? I guess it's a good starting question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, to be honest. I would have to. I don't know.
Well, let me put it this way: if there were no or very little side effects, and the only thing you had to do was either take a pill, rub gel on your shoulders, or take a shot, and you knew that it's not likely that it's actually going to be 100%, but we'll say 100. Let's say you knew for a fact that if you did this, it would either be impossible or extremely unlikely, at least, to get either your partner or just the girl that you're hooking up with or whatever to get a sexual partner, we'll say, pregnant. And you know, would you take that if you knew that it would? You know,
Yeah, I mean, if you and whoever are planning on having kids, don't take it. But if you aren't planning on having kids, take it.
wait. Hold up. I have to. It's not sterilization. It's birth control. So it's like
No,
you take it until you're deciding you want to have children in the future.
I mean,
Just like how female birth control works.
I don't know if I'd take it or not. I'd have to think on it for a little bit.
For me, it's a no-brainer. I've wanted this for years, and I'm glad that it's finally existed. And I know it might sound weird to say because I'm only 23 and to say I've wanted it for years, but yeah, pretty much since I found out about birth control in general, I've thought, why don't we have something for men? like if we're the ones that are, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that it's better too because it can also really cut down on things like
Yeah.
it can prevent a lot of horrible things like paternal fraud. I don't know if I've spoken about this yet, but there are people,
Yeah.
and I'm well aware and grateful that it's not the majority or even a lot, will say, at um, comparatively of women, but there are women that will force pregnancies and
Hmm.
use or they'll like lie about being on birth control and force the man to pay child support. Whereas if you as a man knew that you were on birth control, that's all you fucking need. You're on
Yeah.
birth control. It doesn't matter if she is. Like I love that. I love that as well because it could really mitigate paternal fraud and things like that as well. I think it'd
Uh-huh.
be a really cool thing to do. Um, so we're actually recording this away from each other today. Again, we're using Zoom, and Jordan
We
here
are.
has
We are.
just changed his background to something that I'm sure he would love to talk about again. So, Jordan, the floor is yours.
No, I like. Okay, so My Hero Academia, right? I saw this thing on Facebook the other day. I think like yesterday or the day before yesterday that this show is most likely going to be the new, air quote, like rave of like yours and mine generation, because it was like showing all these statistics and like literally like 80% of yours and mine's age range from like 20 up to like 30 something,
Uh-huh.
like we've been watching My Hero Academia and just like kind of digging into it and like trying to like see what's going to happen for the next season, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, on Facebook, well, Facebook is Facebook. But I saw that this show might actually be like the number one show or anime for people in their 20s up to like their 30s, mid 30s. Um, and
So,
honestly,
yeah.
like I'm going.
So, do you think? Okay, now here's what I'm you're saying it's going to be like the next big thing. Is that
Yeah.
in terms of just anime in general? Like it's going to be the next Dragon Ball, the next Naruto? Or are you talking like just entertainment, TV shows, whatever, like
Um,
in general? Like how is that? What does that mean for you as the next big thing?
Probably what you first, like the biggest anime show of
Is
our
it by
generation
Shonen
per
Jump?
se. Uh, maybe I think maybe, probably not. I don't know. I would have to check up on that. But oh man, it's and I can see why, because I have friends that watch this. Literally, like 98% of my friends, like that live in like other states and all that kind of stuff. It's like bro, what have you been doing? Ever since the pandemic. Well, I've gotten into like anime and all this kind of stuff. Oh well, what anime? Well, My Hero Academia. Oh, sweet man, me too. I'd watch it. Blah blah blah. And then you get into like a 3 hour long conversation on like just you and your friends nerding out on everything
By the
that has to
way,
do with it.
I want to apologize to anybody that's like hearing Jordan kind of cut out and stuff. I don't know what happened, but I do want to let you know you're in like a bad location or something. Connections really
Gotcha,
dipped.
gotcha.
But the other thing with this is so I realized it is shonen. Or sorry, of course it's shonen, but it's by Shonen Jump. The reason I asked, for anyone
Okay.
that's listening and doesn't know, Shonen Jump is the same company the same anime studio that made Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, pretty much all the like famous shonen animes they made. And the reason I asked if it's Shonen Jump or not is because I don't like anything else Shonen Jump's ever produced. Well, I should clarify. I love like the lore and the story and stuff of all of them actually, but I can't sit down and watch any of the shows because it takes forever for anything to happen, and I just don't have the attention span for that.
Yeah.
However, My Hero Academia is really well paced, and I appreciate that a lot. So that's why I asked you to Shonen Jump. Your connection's much better, by the way. You look
Yeah.
better at least, that's for sure.
Thank you. But yeah, no, man, it's a good show. Like, and through this pandemic, through last year, I learned a lot of stuff about myself. I learned that I kind of like anime, whereas before all this ever came into existence, I was like, no, anime's for nerds. Like, I ain't a nerd. Like, I've better things to do than to watch anime all day. But now I'm starting to watch, some of these animes. I'm like, wow, no wonder most of the population of people love anime because, it's all this action, character development, all of that kind of stuff. So,
Well, it's funny you say that because I've always really enjoyed the animation and again the actual story, like how fluid the animation is and the
yeah,
actual stories in anime. I just could never get down with the presentation because again it took forever for everything to happen. So my way of
yeah,
like knowing and following like what goes on with like Dragon Ball Z, for example, or Naruto or anything is
yeah,
playing the games that have been made about them. Like that's how I've always I can't be arsed to sit down and watch the actual show, but the games are good.
yeah,
So, but yeah, no, I mean the funny thing is we are seeing more and more people, Americans specifically, being more accepting and I guess kind of adapting um, Eastern cultures. Oh, well, that's not the right like media's mainly from Japan, like
yeah,
and just Asia in general, because you have like well yeah you have my anime has been a big thing people have been into for a long time. You also have things like right now for the last couple of years K-pop has really been on the rise, which
yeah.
personally not a fan of K-pop, but
Me neither.
it exists and it's fine for people that like it. I
Yeah,
don't like. I can watch something that doesn't have or sorry that's like in a different language and I can read the subtitles, and that's fine. Like I prefer, I will say, this is how you know I'm not a weeb. I prefer dub over sub. Normally, it
me too.
depends.
Me too.
Like there are they're gonna be like you're not a real anime fan. The anime fans are gonna get on your ass, but just letting you know. But
It is what it is.
yeah, but I can deal with having to read the text for what characters are saying and stuff. For a song, if I'm listening to it, if there are no lyrics or I don't understand or like the lyrics, I just can't get into it. I
Yeah,
just can't personally, it's one of those like I could treat like K-pop and stuff the same way I would treat instrumental music, as in like kind of have it in the background or as like an intro or
yeah,
outro to something. But not something I could just like sit down and like seriously listen to and be like, oh yeah, this is a really good song. Like I like what this and kind of like I could analyze it or whatever. Like I couldn't do that, but
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, man, it's a good show, and can't wait till season 5. That's gonna be great. Um, yeah, no, good show, good character development, good plot lines, and they have, man, they could go on for years on like different storylines, because way before this show actually aired, there was a comic called My Hero Academia Vigilantes, and that was set in the quote unquote villain era, where literally the world was just infested with just villains, and there was like a small band of heroes. It's just, just all these side characters. It's just so much stuff to
So
to
My
go
Hero
off on
Academia,
tangents and all that kind of stuff. So
Vigilantes of My Hero Academia didn't actually start until 3 years after the comic, the manga of My Hero Academia started. For the manga of My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero, um, was actually that, because the manga started in 2014, the show started in 2016.
uh-huh.
The manga for Vigilantes started in 2017. So yeah.
Gotcha.
The
Yeah,
Japanese release was 2017. The English release, I just had it pulled up. Where was it? English release was July of 2018. So it's it was
okay. But yeah, man, they could go on so many storylines. It's ridiculous.
yeah.
So
Sounds like it. Sounds like it. Tell you something else. Another interesting thing I found out about today. I guess this has been going on for a while, but okay. So I'm sure you're familiar with Dr. Phil. Yes.
Dr. Phil?
Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know the show of Dr. Phil, basically the way it works is this person who, I don't even know if he's a licensed psychiatrist or what therapist or what have you, but he'll take somebody on the show that's having like issues within their family or their self or whatever it might be, and he'll bring them on, and I mean the reality is he kind of makes a spectacle of them, like for whatever their issue is, and he tries to quote help them.
Yeah.
Maybe he's helped some people. I don't know. I'm not really going to judge that one way or the other. But I do very much believe that a big draw of the show is look at how crazy this person is. Look at how weird their life is. And
Yeah.
So there was this girl. I can't remember. Let me see if I can find her name, because there's like a whole playlist of her on YouTube and stuff. There's like, she has been on the show so many times. Let me find.
Yeah, I'm not really big into watching like all those reality TV shows.
I'm not either, but this is just such a like strange, and I have a point with this stuff, because I will say, okay, so there's this woman named Haley.
Mm-hmm.
She comes onto the show, and she is convinced, or at least she says she is, that she is pregnant with baby Jesus. Now, one of the funniest things about this is apparently, because she's talking about how like she says, "Oh, these people don't even believe I'm pregnant," and it's like, what do you mean they don't believe you're pregnant? Are you not pregnant? The thing is, she's not pregnant. If anything, she was a food baby. Now somehow she gained weight and it all just went to her stomach, and she thinks that this is a baby forming. So, but it gets better, because she has a history of lying about things like giving her brother a kidney and saying that, which she says, "Oh, I don't really remember." Like, if I did that, and I'm like, how would you not fucking remember that? And saying that Eminem is her dad, and all these like crazy, I know, all these crazy different things.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I think, honestly, truthfully, I think because when she sits down and she has her mother there and all these different things, I think very much that her mother put her through some shit. I don't know exactly what, but I think that this pathological lying tendency that she's developed is a defense mechanism of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, saying that, and saying that basically this person needs some kind of help and real help, I will tell you that I, in just like a minute or two, have just psychoanalyzed Haley better than Dr. Phil did on his entire show. Because he didn't fucking help her. Like, he didn't, and he doesn't. Look, this is
No.
the thing. In general, from what I've seen, at least, because I remember growing up, and I would see, my mom would have Dr. Phil on like the TV in the living room or whatever. And
Yeah.
I would see a little bit here and there. But seeing what I've seen there and then seeing what I've seen online and stuff, he doesn't help people. He really doesn't. He like kind of acts like he's trying to help people. But there was this woman who came on, this like 18, 19-year-old girl who was basically coming on to kind of talk about how abusive her mother is and stuff. And her mother was there, and they told her that she wasn't going to be there and all these different things. And when she called Phil out and the rest of the audience, she said, look, go ahead, laugh at me, make a spectacle, I don't care. He told her to leave. He told her, all right, you need to go.
Oh, wow.
Why? Because she broke the immersion. She called out the fact that, look, this isn't therapy, this is for people to laugh at the person that's there. Like, this isn't, and so like, people that need help, don't go on Dr. Phil's show. Also, here's my thing too, right? I never understood this idea. If you're having this like this deep like psychological issue or something that you need help with, why the fuck would you go on a TV show to be like publicly broadcasted?
Yeah, where everyone
can see all your shit. Why would you do that? Why? Like, it's funny because with therapists, they have this thing where there's this thing of confidentiality. Whatever you tell them, they can't tell other people. Otherwise, they can lose their job.
Yeah.
Yet Dr. Phil's job is literally the exact opposite of that. It's a really weird, I don't know. It's a really weird thing to me. And he doesn't help people. But,
no. So shout out to all you people who want to go on Dr. Phil. Don't go on Dr. Phil, because he'll just basically wreck your life even more.
I don't think it's really that much different from like Jerry Springer or Maury or any of those, different things. And I don't know how much of it is faked or what either, but I think most of it's real. And go ahead.
See, now the realest kind of talk show I think that is genuine is the Kelly Clarkson show. Oh yeah, talk to me nice. but no, seriously, in all seriousness, like I've watched a couple of her kind of stuff, and like her episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you call them episodes or sessions, or what would you call them?
Well, I mean, altogether it's an episode, but I'm pretty sure if you've seen like 5-minute things on YouTube or whatever, those were clips. But look, I've seen some of like, I saw she did this interview with Machine Gun Kelly. That was really good. That was a really good interview she did.
Me too.
And she's and she's done other things. I haven't seen much of her show, to be honest with you. But I can't really speak on the matter, to be honest with you. But as far as like talk shows in general go, I like I watch clips every now and then of like Stephen Colbert and different. I'm not really sure if those are like talk shows per se, because like normally when people talk about talk shows, it's like daytime television. Don't really watch much of that. I know a lot of things like I have a real issue with some of the things like on The View, for example.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Because it's honestly not. It's not. I don't know if they're all single or what, but it's a bunch of women that are kind of sitting around. A lot of I should clarify. The clips I've seen, at least, have been them just like complaining about men and having like horrific double standards. Like there was this one who said
that's basically what it is. You actually got that right on the mark.
There was this one I saw where they were like, what was it? It was saying about like one of the women was saying like I think someone had asked them like if what it was like if my husband no not my husband if I break up with someone or no yeah if I break up with someone and I'm married, like this is years later, my friend can't date my ex, no matter how long it's been since we broke up, and even if I'm in a happily new relationship and everything, they can't date them because I dated them first. Like, what the fuck? No, that's so fuck. You know, that's like to say like if you know if one of us were to get married and then the other one you know started dating one of our you know previous exes, be like, oh no, you can't do that. Like, no, that's not even bro code at that point. That's just being like a hostile, petty bitch. Like,
Yeah.
that's not cool. That's just because like you've moved on in life. You're like with a clearly a better person for you. But
Yeah.
like there's this jealousy. Really, it all comes back to this thing, and I know eventually I'm sure I'll do like a full discussion on it someday here. But this concept of toxic toxic femininity, and the reality is like you know you hear about toxic masculinity all the time. We always hear about toxic masculinity and all these different things, which I did mention this a little bit on the National Men's Day show or episode we did because or International Men's Day because I remember talking about how our group chat our friend group is a very positive masculine
Yeah.
and there is I honestly don't know too much what positive femininity would look like. I would say it's probably just like most anything feminine other than what I'm about to explain what's toxic femininity. Toxic femininity is things where, I guess I'm doing a whole segment on it now. Toxic femininity is where you have things like you know where the where the women really think that like you know and are kind of really pushed into like oh they have to be married by a certain age, they can't express their feelings, and not in the way that men can where they have to like be stoic and but women have to like always be all happy all the time and can't ever express when they're sad or upset and can't deal with confrontation properly, so they have to do this catty bullshit what's it called um
Ranting.
no passive aggressive shit. You know, like the oh, if that's what you want, you know, like that kind of shit. You know, like those kind of different things. Yeah, like that shit. It's just not healthy. It's just
Yeah.
not healthy at all. And these are some examples.
No.
And you know, the thing is, like, you know, truthfully, these are all toxic femininity, toxic masculinity. These are all things that are honestly part of the patriarchy, which hurts both men and women. A lot of people talk about the patriarchy and how it hurts men. How it hurts women. It hurts men too. It hurts both. It hurts all people. And I would venture to say, I don't know the specifics on this, but I
Yeah.
would venture to say it hurts uh non-binary and transgender people too. Because, you know, like I don't know, especially with when you have trans people trying to pass as female or male and they have to go through so much and they're constantly worried on if they're passing for traditional gender roles and all these different yeah it's a mess. I think we need to have better personally I think we need to have better discussions on this as a people
Yeah.
and you know, figure out how to bring things to a point where everybody can kind of equally benefit from the same things. And people can be equally held accountable to different things as well, which again is something I think that male birth control could help with. Because women couldn't be like, oh yeah, this is your baby, even though it was like someone she cheated on him with. Because that does happen, you know, this
Yeah.
shit does happen. And I think it's disgusting when it does. It's a fear that I have. I have some different fears with that, and that's one of them. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. The point is we need to do our best to defeat like you know all misogyny, misandry, everything, all anything that like, really hurts people and disadvantages them in major ways, and just any type of like segregating bullshit kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, and like, I feel like people need to be more kind of kind about the whole gender thing, because there's all these people with different views on themselves, and their different mindsets and all that kind of stuff, which is fun. But I feel like we all need to stand together and be like, hey, we accept that person, however he, she, they, whatever it is, whatever
Right.
they are, how they are, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So,
And honestly, the easiest way to do that is representation. When
yeah.
you know somebody in real life who is gay or trans or whatever they are, it becomes a lot more difficult to say, like, oh, they choose that lifestyle, or it's a phase, or something else like that. Granted, something like sexuality, for example, is a spectrum, but that doesn't. So what I mean by that is, like, you'll have women that'll be like more experimental in her college years or something like that. That's kind of a meme and a well-known thing that does happen at times. And in general, women do tend to be more open to the idea of having sex with another woman, rather than a man is having sex with another man. And what's funny,
Yeah.
this is a short thing on this, but in Roman culture, which was, one of the most, seen as some of the most like manly, people and all this stuff, soldiers, especially when they went to war, would often have sex with the other men. And the very interesting, funny thing about this is it wasn't considered gay if you were the one penetrating. If you were taking it in the ass, you were considered gay, homosexual. But if you were doing the penetrating, if you were the one inserting your penis in even if it was another man, in their ass, you were not considered gay. So it's really interesting how even that kind of concept kind of changes and works. And yeah,
Silly Romans.
silly Rome. I mean, hey, look, their empire fell, so
Silly
Um,
Romans.
but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, and when it comes to, like, a big part of the problem, I think, is that people in general aren't necessarily willing to hear the other side, we'll say. A lot of women want to think like, oh, women are oppressed and they have all these problems and men are benefiting from da 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 da. Well, that's true, but also men have these certain problems and women have advantages in these different. So, like, as far as gender goes, and I'm talking primarily cisgender people, but this might apply to trans people as well. But, like, yes, so, like, one of the things is for example, you'll have, like, men will often complain about how a woman can, any woman can basically get any guy to like her easily and different things like that. But like, it's harder for a guy to date. It's harder for a guy to get a date than a girl to get a date. Yes, that's true, but at the same time, these women also have to constantly push away like really creepy guys, and they're constantly like kind of have to worry about, like, is this guy gonna like treat me well? Is he gonna be safe even? Like, all these different things, like, and there's a lot more risks involved for women than there are for men. So, and the reality too is men in general don't have, not all men, but men in general don't have very high standards. Like, a lot of, not all, just like not all women are this way, but a lot of men will just fuck anything with a pulse. Like, let's be honest. There are a lot of men that'll just be like, hey, you know what? And there are women that way too. But generally speaking, that's a man thing. But yeah, no. So, like, generally speaking, yes, men tend to struggle more as far as But even in that regard, while men tend to struggle more with getting a relationship, women tend to struggle more with keeping a guy in a relationship. You know, they if they're with a guy who maybe only wants to use them for sex or just be with them for a little while and then ditch them, you know, and they might not want that. You know, if they want that and that's agreed upon and everything, that's perfectly fine. But if that hasn't been communicated properly, and or even worse, if he's like lying to her and be like, oh yeah, like I really want to be with you and everything, and then he just like leaves her, like, you know, then that's a shitty guy. But you know,
Yeah.
at the same time, a woman that does something like, you know, she's, you know, a gold digger, or she does something, you know, really horrible, like I mentioned, either forcing pregnancy or cheating on her partner and getting pregnant with someone else, then being like, oh yeah, this baby's yours. Now you have to pay for the child, or we raise the kid together, and then he finds out it's not his, and it's a whole mess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these things happen on both ends. Anytime a woman goes out, like late at night, especially late at night, she better be with somebody else, because
Yeah.
it's just not say. And look, is there a double standard there? Yes, there is. But the reality is, a lot of men are just sick fucks. Again, that not all of us, but just like I'm saying, the same kind of, just as there are really horrible men that will do really horrible fucked up things to women, there are really horrible women that will do really horrible fucked up things to men. I think part of the problem with this discussion comes in where a lot of people want to look at it as a binary. It's very easy to think men, like, we generally, even if it's like kind of subconsciously, we tend to think, due to media and a bunch of other things, that um, men, like, there can be evil men, but all women are good. A lot of people have this view that women are these like perfect angelic creatures and stuff, and they're capable of
Nope.
no wrong, and that's just not reality. All
No.
human beings, regardless of their gender, regardless of their what their body is or anything, are capable. I believe, I've said this for I've been saying this for years, and I will continue to say that I believe anybody is as capable as being as good and pure, we'll say, as someone like Gandhi, Mother Teresa, which apparently Mother Teresa wasn't really that great, but or a saint, all the way to being as evil and horrible as someone like Hitler. I think
Yeah.
everybody has the capability to be as good of a person or as evil as a person as humanly possible, and it's a lot of it is dependent upon how they're raised, what their environment's like, all those different things. And that's one of the reasons it's very important for us as people, as a human species, to help one another, come together and help people from turning into monsters.
Yeah.
Encourage people to be the best that they can be, and not, don't let them fall down paths of really fucked up shit. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I think it's important
That
to
was a
understand.
riveting speech.
Thank you. I think it's important to understand both sides of the conversation with everything. I think, you know, it's very important to have nuance and understanding. I think are the very key important things.
Yeah, man, definitely.
And in general, when having discussions, the point should always be to come together on a solution, not to argue to win. This is true in relationships. This is true in, you'll notice even with romantic couples, um, partners that argue against each other to win an argument, they don't do so well together. But couples that argue to come to an understanding together, that can make them even stronger than they were before, and it's such a cool thing, and
Yeah.
it's just beautiful. But yeah, that's yeah, that's all I got on that.
Yeah, man, good stuff. Good stuff. But you know, I think it's all good. You know, everyone's different. You know, it's what makes America a crock pot. A crock pot of fantasticness.
Do you mean like a
Well, sorry, boiling pot or whatever the term
Yeah,
is.
something. Yeah. I've heard that. I've heard that phrase where we're like they say America's the boiling pot of the world or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before on here, but I think that in some ways, Florida is very much the kind of boiling pot of the country, or maybe a few other places like that are too, like California is. But like
Uh-huh.
just places that have like a good mix of every. Well, I don't know if I'd say we have a good mix, but we have an amount of different cultures and people in our
Yeah.
in our state, and that tends to carry across others as well.
Oh yeah.
It's
Hmm.
not like what is it, Ohio or no, like Wyoming or something, right? Where it's like a bunch of or is it
Mm.
or Utah? Utah's the other one I'm thinking of, where it's like a bunch of white Mormons and stuff. We have a pretty good mix of things overall, I'd say.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Like I said, America is in my own words, the crock pot of the world because there's so
We're
many
definitely a
different,
crockpot sometimes.
yeah, more, yeah. But yeah, man, there's so many different people in this state, so or in this country. My bad. Um,
How dare you?
yeah, friggin' one of those people. "Oh, it's a country, man. I meant to say that. No, but yeah, man.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I will just to like the you can refer to the country as a whole as the state because it's like
Yeah,
the state as in like the government, the man. Um,
yeah,
yeah, it's a terms and stuff is can get weird sometimes. It's one of the things
yeah.
that, in my opinion, while it makes the English language so cool that we have different words for the same thing and the same word can mean different things too. Well, I think that's really cool in a lot of ways, especially for poetry and music and stuff. It's awesome.
Hmm.
For a lot of other things, for like regular conversation, not that great. Not that great.
It's like, hey, hey, what's up? How you doing? It's like, talk to me. Like, hey, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How's your day going? I'm alive. It's sunny outside. I'm doing this, that, and the other. Oh, okay, awesome. Blah blah blah. Instead of saying, hey, and then you both go your separate ways. It's like, no, talk to me, man. But
Well, that tends to be how
yeah.
how it is
So
more here with our.
so
Go ahead.
oh yeah, no, so actually I completely forgot what I was gonna say. Continuing with what you were saying.
No, I was just gonna say, you're saying like this. Talk to me. Don't just be like, hey. Like that's that's kind of how we handle a lot of
Oh, that's right,
discussions
yeah.
here in America, and that's how it is in England too. I've heard a lot of people are just kind of like you almost don't even look at people like in England because people are like not on edge per se, but it's just not a normal thing to just like
Yeah.
go up to people like, hi,
It's
how are
like
you? Like, I mean, that's not
it's
exactly
like
socially acceptable here either, but I tend to
yeah,
be somebody who, I don't know, I try to make everybody's day and just be like,
yeah.
I talk to like the people just around me and just be like, hey, how you doing? Just whatever.
Yeah, it's like you look at someone and like you don't know if they're gonna snap. So it's like I'm just gonna. But so what is your actually side note? What is your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest,
Like the
in
number
terms
one
of
pet
what?
peeve? Just anything,
Anything?
anything.
I mean, I don't know if it counts, but lack of respect and just like common like human decency. Like I just
Okay.
hate that. For example, I'll give you an example. I just experienced this today actually. I was okay, so like I was wow. I was broken record. Yeah, exactly.
I.
Remix. No. I was pulling into a parking spot and someone had put a cart like right at like in the parking spot, like right at the edge in the parking spot, And then there was right next to it one of those like carts you can sit on. I was going
Okay.
to Walmart. It's one of those like motorized carts you can sit on,
Yeah.
and that was like in the middle of it too. And I was like,
Mm,
what the fuck? So what I ended up doing was I like stopped right before I could hit either one, got out, moved the cart, then I moved the I had to ride the thingamafucker, the motorized chair
yeah.
thing. I don't know what it's called. Um, and then I was able to get out. But
Yeah.
like, it's just I don't know. It was just a weird. It was weird. It was. I'm sorry, not weird. It was shitty. It was like, why you
Yeah.
got to do this? Like
Yeah.
people
Like,
do little things like that, and it pisses me off. So it's like, have respect. Whatever you do, no matter who you are, what you believe, what anything, just please have respect for your fellow man. Seriously, have respect
yeah.
for other human beings. Honestly, like it's lack of respect just drives me up the fucking wall. What are your
Yeah.
pet peeves? I don't know if that counts as a pet peeve. I have smaller things that might count as a pet peeve too, but
Well,
what
it's not
grinds
my.
your
Well,
gears?
oh gosh. So it's not my number one, but it's like in my top 10. It's like top 5 or top 6. When when one person is having another conversation with another person, one of the things to do is you make eye contact. My thing is you make no eye contact. Exactly. People, as you
No,
can't even see this,
yeah.
but yeah,
I
but
was
yeah,
deliberately
just
looking
just
away from the screen as he was saying that. I know exactly what he's talking about. Yeah, well,
it's
the
just
thing,
it's just like
it's very unsettling because, and again, this is a cultural thing too. Because there are cultures where like not having eye or too much eye contact is like a sign of respect and a sign of showing that like I'm lesser than you. But the way Americans tend to handle eye contact is not showing eye contact tends to mean you're untrustworthy, and it
mm,
tends to mean that like you're untrustworthy, you're lying to them, which kind of goes hand in hand. And yeah, it's just not a good thing for when we do the whole when people don't have eye contact in
yeah,
America.
and I'm a big eye contact guy. I want to see your eyes. Like, I want to see what color they are, like what shape they are. The eyes are the window to the soul. Yeah, so I want to see your eyes. I want to make eye contact with you while I'm talking. But yeah, man, that just kind of drives me up the wall. Just looking around and not even like looking at like your chin or like your neck or your
Yeah.
forehead. Just not even looking at you at all. It's just like,
Right.
bro.
It's weird too because it's almost like, I'm sorry, do you even want to talk to me? Do you want me to go away? Like,
Exactly. Like,
yeah, it feels. I know. Yeah, it's.
but
Yeah, I feel you.
yeah, no, that's one of my biggest peeves.
Hmm.
But then again, not a lot, not sometimes, but every once in a while, I do the same thing. I rarely make eye contact when, obviously, if I don't know the person at first. Well,
Hmm.
actually, let's just scratch all that. I do make eye contact, but very rarely do I like actually like just kind of look around and not even look at your face. Very, very rarely, like once every 5 years, I do that. Not making eye contact
You time 5 years,
while
not
you're
doing it,
talking.
not making eye contact with anyone. Fuck it. Um,
It's-
what the hell? Yeah. Okay. No, I mean I get the whole eye contact thing though, because like, yeah, no, and you're right about how windows to the soul and all those different things. Like, yeah, generally speaking, like making eye contact with someone, it's the same reason why like locking into somebody's eyes and you guys just like staring into each other's eyes like with a partner or something, why that's just like a really like special. It's funny because like it's a really intimate moment in general, whether it be with like partners, lovers, you'll see it also. It happens a lot, especially like in movies and stuff, where there's like two people against each other and they'll lock eyes. You'll have that thing where like in anime and different things where people will be like they'll have their swords clashing, and their faces will be right next to each other, or their heads will be up against, foreheads will be up against each other, and they look all angry and intimidating, and they're like locking eyes with each other. It's a very like I peering into the very essence of who you are. Like I don't know. It's a really powerful thing. Eye contact is
Yeah.
super powerful. Super powerful. It's incredible.
Oh,
Body language
yeah.
in general is, but eye contact is one of the biggest things. So are things like smiling and different things you do with your mouth, which is part of the reason it sucks wearing masks right now. But we need to do it because until at least I think it's like
Yeah.
72 or something % of us have vaccines, we need to. We're gonna have to keep doing this, you know, because we have to. We'll get herd immunity to kick in eventually, but we're a ways off from that. So we'll get there, but you know, it'll
Baby
take some time.
steps.
They're thinking by like July or something. Maybe we should be able to start, you know, easing up on things and going back to normal and all that. I'll tell you what, I was in Dollar Tree today, and for anyone that doesn't know, something about Dollar Tree is they have very like thin aisles, very small like packed aisles. I was at a point where I was trying to get something, and I was like in front of these people, and I was, oh, you go ahead, and they were, oh no, I'm going this way too. Okay, then I'll go backwards.
Yeah.
And I noticed as I was going backwards, none of them had a mask on. It was a mother and her 2 daughters. The mother didn't even look like she didn't like have a mask anywhere in her vicinity. And the 2 kids had masks, but they were like hanging off their ear. I'm like, what's the fucking like? What are you doing? Like,
it's an accessory.
yeah, apparently it's not something we need to do right now for anyone or anything. No, not at all.
No.
Jesus, yeah. No, you know what? And that's a thing too, right? I talk about common decency and taking care of being good to your fellow man and stuff. That's exactly what wearing masks are all about. It's about it's not about, you know, whether you have the disease or not. It's about, are you taking the initiative to say, well, hey, look, even if I do and I don't know it, you don't have to worry about me. It's completely dependent upon common decency. Like that's exactly what it is. But anyway, I've spoken about that. We've talked about masks before. We've ranted and raved, and we've had all kinds of discussions on this stuff. So I think we're done in general as far as that goes. And I think this is a good place to wrap up the show today. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
All right.
Swag.
So I think we're good with all that we have to say. Are there any parting words you'd like to leave our lovely audience with?
Wear a mask.
Yes.
Eat good, stay healthy, wear a mask. Eat good. That's basically it.
Yeah. I believe it was Socrates that said food is the body's medicine. So take that as you will as well. But yes, no. They say you are what you eat, so
exactly.
Make sure it's good what you're eating, what you're doing. And then I remember they had this thing years ago on Nickelodeon where it was this initiative. I think Michelle Obama actually started it.
Yeah.
But it was they would always say balance what you eat and drink with what you do. And that was always a cool thing as well. So honestly, yes, do those things. And look, as I say all the time, guys, just take care of yourself, take care of each other out there. You're gonna be all right. Whatever you're going through, you'll get through it. We'll yeah. And we will be here next week for another episode.
Absolutely.
But as always, guys, you know, if you have any thoughts or suggestions, anything to talk about in the comments, let us know what you thought about this episode, about anything. Yes.
Okay, so
we never get to have a proper ending, by the way. I don't know if you guys ever noticed this, but I'm always in the middle of wrapping things up, and Jordan's, oh, I have this thing. Fucking hell. Go on, dude.
All right. So we may go a little bit over time, but hey, it's all good. So remember, remember this past episode where we were talking about basically My Hero Academia?
Yes.
And you said, like, you know, in the comments or, you know, wherever, like, what would your quirk be from the show, or make your own quirk? Yeah, I think I'd go with Hawks's quirk.
Hmm.
So, what about you?
Well, we talked about this before, but I still would have to go with either. I think at the end of the day, I would still prefer lightning dude's powers, the lightning
Okay.
powers, because again, I'm okay with when I use too. Also, I have to use too much power to even get that drawback of being dumb for like an hour or whatever. But I think
Yeah.
I'd much prefer that than having to like be in a shit ton of pain every time I use my power, even just a little bit, like Deku does.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But that was just a little side thing.
mhm.
I'm definitely going to talk about it more next episode.
We might
I'm going to
actually
talk about
binge
all.
the series together and be able to talk about it.
There you
Look
go.
out! This might end up being another thing of the boys where we just talk about this all the time.
Exactly.
Oh, I can't wait till that show comes
Yeah.
back either. That'll be dope. This year they
Yeah.
should be
That's
having
that's
more
going to be
stuff.
good.
Totally.
So it
Anyway,
actually switched. But yeah. So I will touch upon this more. But anyways, stay safe, eat healthy, uh, stay healthy, eat healthy, all that kind of stuff. Wear a mask, and that's all I have to say.
yeah. And as always, guys, like I said, let us know what you think. Leave a like if you like, and if not, hope you find something you do like. But other than that, we're done here. So later, guys. Peace.
Peace.